Hey, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to Time Out Tuesday, episode 131. 131 times I've been coming to you live on Tuesday afternoons. And, today I wanted to talk about how time marches on. I titled this video, Time Marches On, and thus the show must go on. But I think back to March when things started getting a little icky on the COVID side, and we decided that we had to shut down. We were linking ourselves to schools at the time, and when the schools started shutting down, that's when we decided that it was time for us to shut down. It wasn't a matter of a politician or a law or an executive order or anything like that that got us to shut down. We shut down because it was in the interest of our members' health and safety, our staff's member safety and health, and of course myself and my family's safety and health. And at the time it was pretty unclear as to how long that was going to be, what it was going to mean. But I don't think that anybody really had a sense that it was going to be multiple months at that time. I think that in the beginning it was, I know the local school closed for 3 days originally, for example. They were going to close, they were going to clean and reopen on Monday or Tuesday, and everything was going to be fine. And by about 24 hours after they announced that, it was going to be a 2-week closure. And then about midway through the 2-week closure, it was a 1-month closure. And by the end of the 1 month, midway through that first month, they announced that the second month was already closed. And then by the midway through that month, we were closed for the year. During the first week or so that we switched over, we switched over immediately to Zoom classes because we knew that we had to teach our students. As soon as we switched over to the Zoom classes, we had to come up immediately with a curriculum. And our first goal, of course, was to make the transition easy for our students, to let them have some fun, to let them adapt to this new change in a calm and orderly fashion. And after about a week or so, it became evident that this wasn't just going to be a 2 or 3 class or a 2 or 3 day situation. We better have some, longer term planning here. And we started thinking a little bit more about our curriculum and how to teach it. We took a look at the calendar and realized that we were only about 4 weeks away from an upcoming test. We had to figure out whether we were going to cancel that test for our students or whether we were going to move forward with testing. And if we did move forward with testing, how was the test going to work and what were we going to test them on? Because a lot of what they would have learned under normal conditions, they weren't able to learn because at the time, we didn't have a method for teaching it to them, and we weren't, engaged with one another in class. And some people were still just adapting to getting online, and so there were people that were missing classes. And, we decided to modify our curriculum a little bit for the upcoming test, give everybody a fair chance to test, to show that they had adapted to the online learning method, that they had maintained a level of proficiency in their previous requirements, so that they certainly didn't slip back. But we also wanted them to show us and really prove to themselves that they were moving themselves forward. And so we did that, and we executed our first virtual test back in April, and then towards the end of June, we did our second test. Now, our second test was a totally different methodology because we were actually testing them based on our regular curriculum, just as though we were in class. And this was a matter of an extreme adaptation because over the course of these, I guess, 3 or 4 months now that we've been closed, we've developed, and I had a count of this the other day, and I don't have it in front of me, but several dozen new drills, training series, learning and teaching methods. And those new methods continue to be developed on a daily basis. So, in fact, just yesterday, I was teaching something to a bunch of our students for the very first time. It took some time for us to figure out how to teach, how to disarm a weapon from somebody when you're not even standing in front of somebody to have them attack you, and what the feel of that is. So I had to come up with different methods of simulating an attack with things that they have around their house and things like that. So each week we come up with new things, and time continues to march on. The show must go on. Our students have demonstrated an incredible ability to adapt and learn. And I would really make a strong case that the vast majority of our students have sort of demonstrated what I would call like almost like a Darwinism in terms of like their ability to adapt and grow and become better and stronger. And to a large extent, I think that some of them have even really developed, I guess, for lack of a better term, like an epiphany of learning. I've seen students becoming much stronger than they were a few months ago. Their balance has improved because of many of the drills we've done. Their understanding of many of the things that we teach has gotten much stronger because we've had to dissect things and put them back together and come up with different ways of teaching. And one of the things that we learn over the course of teaching is that not everybody learns the same. One person needs to hear it 100 times before they get it. Another person needs to hear it 3 different ways from 3 different instructors. But somehow we're moving our student body forward, and I'm very excited about that. AT&T has this ad out now, which, as you can expect, I like a lot. Their tagline is, "The ability to adapt doesn't just make a difference, it is the difference." Let me read that again. The ability to adapt doesn't just make a difference, it is the difference. I couldn't agree with that phrase more. I think that the people that embraced the reality that we're in right now are going to come out of this very strong, one way or another. I think that people that rejected this reality and ceased doing their activities and dropped out of doing things, thinking, well, they'll just come back when everything is normal and they'll restart when everything is normal. I think they're going to find that that's not quite as easy as it sounds, because whatever it is, not just karate, if you're not doing things on a regular basis, you forget, you lose interest, you plateau, or you go backwards, and then it becomes a matter of motivation to get yourself back into it. And then you wind up comparing yourself to your peers, and your peers that have been continuing on will now be, somewhat ahead of you, and that can be a little bit demoralizing. But those that have embraced the change and fought through the difficulty come out the other side so much stronger. And I'm really proud of our students that have represented that type of adaptation and their survival of the fittest, I guess, would be the best. These are the fittest, and they have survived, and I'm very, very proud of them. One of the things that nobody has ever heard me say is complaining at all about the fact that our business in its traditional sense, meaning in-person classes, is closed down. I've not complained about it at all because it's pointless. Who am I going to complain to? This virus is not the fault of anybody. It's a thing that spreads on its own. There's science behind that. It doesn't matter to me where it actually originated. It matters to me that it exists right now. It matters to me that we make sure that we protect ourselves in every possible way, shape, and form. And I believe that it's completely irresponsible first of all, I think it's irresponsible to blame anybody else for the fact that we're closed down. If I wanted to open up in some way, shape, or form, I guess I would do it. I could defy the rules. I could try to convince people that I thought it was safe. I could try to do it in a way that it was safe. But at the end of the day, I believe it's a risk. I believe that it would be irresponsible. And that's the reason why we're not going to reopen until there's a reason why I can explain to every single person that's going to walk into the building that there is almost no possibility that coming to the dojo is going to cause them to become infected or to convey that infection onto one of their loved ones or back to any one of our members. We're just not going to be that place, and that's just going to be a matter of adapting and continuing to improve. Kaizen, the continuous improvement, that's the Japanese term for continuous improvement, Kaizen. And these are the things that we're living by right now. We're living by the concept of positive adaptation and Kaizen. And I really embrace the students and their parents that have continued that adaptation with us and are just continuing to become amazing martial artists. And I do believe when they look back on this later on in life, they're going to look back on this as a very important period of their life, something that they never forget for a variety of reasons. But when they look back at their martial arts career, they're going to look back at this and remember dozens of things that they learned during this period of time. And many of these things are not, many of these things, by the way, that we're teaching in class are not things that are going to be exclusive to the Zoom environment. These are in most cases, in fact, almost every case, going to be things that I continue into the curriculum because I've seen how valuable they are. We've come up with all kinds of methods of teaching people how to hit stronger, how to hit focused targets, all kinds of things that are just going to become very valuable parts of their martial arts training. And for that, I'm very excited for the dojo and for our students past, well, not past, I guess, but present and future. With that said, I wish everybody a fantastic day today. Keep yourself safe, keep yourself socially distanced, wear a mask if you're out and about in public and you're not able to socially distance yourself. I'm just reading too many stories right now about people that are kind of going down a slippery slope of letting their guard down, attending an event, and then the next thing you know, they're one of a high percentage of people at that event that have contracted or test positive for coronavirus. This is not something that we should want to do, and I hope that everybody tries to avoid that. I'd like to see everybody trying to band together here and making this thing go away. I don't think that there's any way it's going to go away short of an infection while people are on two different sides of the fence in terms of how to handle this. All that means is that some people are going to be very careful and be isolated and probably not contract coronavirus, and people will be a population of those that pass it back and forth and continue a problem, put everybody at risk, including those that are keeping themselves in isolation. So, with that said, I guess evangelizing my position on staying healthy and safe. Anyway, with that said, I hope everyone does it. Everybody a fantastic day today.